Mike said 4 words to Muhammad Ali before he died that moved everyone. The sterile, antiseptic smell of the hospital room hung heavy in the air, a stark contrast to the vibrant electric energy that had once surrounded the man lying in the bed. The walls were painted a pale institutional green, and the only sounds were the rhythmic beeping of monitors and the soft hiss of oxygen flowing through a nasal cannula. Sunlight, filtered through thin curtains, cast long, muted shadows across the room, illuminating the frail figure beneath the crisp white sheets. This was not a boxing ring, not a press conference, not a stage for the world's greatest showman. This was a quiet, private room in a Phoenix hospital where Muhammad Ali, the greatest, lay in the final days of his life. It was June 2016, and Ali's battle with Parkinson's disease had taken its toll. The once powerful body, the lightning-fast hands, the booming voice that had captivated millions were now diminished, weakened by years of relentless illness. His face, though still recognizable, was gaunt and drawn, his movements slow and labored. Yet even in his frailty, there remained a flicker of the spirit that had made him a legend, a quiet dignity that transcended his physical limitations. His family surrounded him, their faces etched with grief and love, their presence a silent vigil as they prepared to say goodbye to the man who had meant so much to them and to the world. Word had spread through the boxing community that Ali's time was near. Fighters, trainers, promoters, and fans from around the globe sent messages of love and support, sharing their memories, expressing their gratitude for the impact he had made on their lives. Among those who received the news was Mike Tyson. Mike, now older, wiser, and deeply reflective about his own life and legacy, felt a profound sense of loss. Ali had been more than just a predecessor, more than just a champion. He had been an inspiration, a symbol of courage, resilience, and unwavering conviction. Mike knew he had to see him, to pay his respects, to say goodbye to the man who had paved the way for fighters like him. Mike arrived at the hospital quietly, without fanfare, accompanied only by a close friend. He wore a simple, dark suit, his demeanor somber and respectful. The hospital staff, recognizing him, discreetly led him to Ali's room, their faces reflecting the gravity of the moment. Mike paused outside the door, taking a deep breath, steeling himself for what he was about to witness. He had seen Ali in his prime, had watched him dance and dazzle in the ring, had marveled at his wit and charisma. But now, he was about to see him in his most vulnerable state, a stark reminder of the fragility of life. He knocked softly, then entered. The room was filled with Ali's family, their faces turning towards him, their expressions a mixture of surprise and gratitude. They knew who Mike Tyson was. They knew his history, his struggles, his redemption, and they welcomed him, understanding that he too needed this moment, this chance to say goodbye. Mike walked slowly towards the bed, his powerful frame seeming to shrink in the presence of such profound loss. He looked at Ali, his eyes welling up with tears. The man who had once been the greatest now lay still, his breathing shallow, his eyes closed. Mike knelt beside the bed, his large hand gently taking Ali's frail one. He didn't speak immediately, simply held Ali's hand, feeling the faint pulse, the lingering warmth. The room was silent, save for the rhythmic beeping of the monitors, a constant reminder of the ticking clock. Mike's tears flowed freely now, his shoulder shaking with silent sobs. He had faced countless opponents in the ring, had endured unimaginable pain and hardship, but nothing had prepared him for this, for the raw, overwhelming grief of losing a hero. And if you're wondering what words could possibly capture the depth of gratitude, respect, and love that one legend feels for another, or what final message could move an entire room to tears, then you absolutely need to hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you won't want to miss the truth that's about to unfold. A truth that will show you the power of 4 simple words. This story is far from over, and the real consequences are about to be delivered. Ali's eyes, which had been closed, slowly fluttered open. They were clouded, unfocused, but a flicker of recognition seemed to pass through them. He looked at Mike, his gaze weak but present. Mike, seeing Ali's eyes open, leaned in closer, his voice a choked whisper. He wanted to say so much, to express the profound impact Ali had had on his life, to thank him for his courage, his inspiration, his unwavering spirit. But words seemed inadequate, insufficient to capture the depth of his emotions. He struggled, his throat tight, his heart heavy. Then, with a trembling voice, Mike Tyson spoke 4 words. Simple, direct, yet carrying the weight of a lifetime of respect, admiration, and profound love. "You're the greatest, champ," Mike whispered, his voice breaking on the last word. The words hung in the air. A simple declaration, yet imbued with such raw emotion, such genuine reverence, that they seemed to fill the entire room. Ali's lips, which had been still, twitched slightly, a faint, almost imperceptible smile forming. His eyes, though clouded, seemed to brighten for just a moment, a flicker of acknowledgement, a silent thank you. The room, which had been silent, now filled with the sound of quiet sobs. Ali's family, witnessing this profound moment of connection between 2 legends, were moved to tears. They saw not just 2 boxers, but 2 men bound by a shared history, a mutual respect, and a deep, abiding love for the sport that had defined their lives. Mike continued to hold Ali's hand, his tears falling onto the white sheets, his body shaking with grief. He repeated the words, softer this time, a mantra of love and respect. "You're the greatest, champ. You're the greatest." Ali's hand, weak and trembling, squeezed Mike's ever so slightly. A final gesture of acknowledgement, a silent message of gratitude. His eyes closed again, his breathing becoming even more shallow. Mike remained kneeling beside the bed, his hand still holding Ali's, unwilling to let go, unwilling to accept the inevitable. The monitors continued their rhythmic beeping, a constant reminder of the fragile thread that connected Ali to this world. The family gathered closer, their hands reaching out to touch Ali, to offer their love and support in his final moments. Mike finally reluctantly released Ali's hand. He stood slowly, his legs unsteady, his face wet with tears. He looked at Ali's family, his eyes filled with shared grief. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for sharing him with the world." Ali's wife, Lonnie, stepped forward, embracing Mike, her own tears flowing freely. "He loved you, Mike," she whispered. "He was so proud of you, of what you became." Mike nodded, unable to speak, his heart too full of emotion. He then turned and walked slowly towards the door, pausing one last time to look back at the bed, at the man who had inspired him, who had shown him what true greatness looked like. "You're the greatest, champ," he whispered one final time, his voice barely audible. Then he left the room, leaving behind the quiet vigil, the beeping monitors, and the profound sense of loss that filled the space. Muhammad Ali passed away later that day, surrounded by his family, his legacy secure, his impact on the world undeniable. News of Mike Tyson's visit and the 4 words he had spoken spread quickly. It became a symbol of respect, of the bond between fighters, of the profound impact that one legend can have on another. Those 4 simple words, "You're the greatest, champ," spoken with such raw emotion and genuine reverence, moved not just Ali's family, but millions around the world. They were a reminder that true greatness is not just about victories in the ring, but about the respect you earn, the lives you touch, and the legacy you leave behind. Respect isn't just earned through victories, it's proven through the love and gratitude you show to those who pave the way. Silent doesn't mean powerless. Sometimes the quietest person carries the greatest power, and the most profound lessons are taught not with words, but with the undeniable truth of 4 simple words spoken from the heart. You're the greatest, champ.